So I forgot that. So on a Sunday they have like either a wine tasting or something there, but normally they have like 4 bartenders. Right now, they've only got the owner, and they're having a cocktail thing. So the poor owner's making like 12, 13 cocktails, and I'm like, I just want to buy a beer. They're like, shit. Sorry. Sorry.
Nope. 1 second.
So that being said,
1 second. Sorry, my son's got his friends over. Anyway. Dorks Down Under. Lay the dad hammer down. Anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under, Season 2, Episode 30. 30? 27, 30. Yeah, 30. 30. We're on 30. And if it's not 30,
this is
it's
hard,
30
guys.
now.
Because we have pretty much. So if for anybody listening, if you haven't listened to the first two that we've just done, which have all been filmed back to back because Jordan just loves to talk.
It's easier to do
That's
it now.
The excuse I'm doing. That is true. So much so that I've actually bought beer because I'm like, I need a beer for this.
I'm imagining you only got a beer on the third one.
It was more because I took way too long in between. So we were taking 5-minute breaks. And then I went upstairs and I had a chat and then I peed and stuff. And then that kind of went for about 10 or 12 minutes. And then just then I'm like, I'm going to the pub. I've got to go out the garage door and walk down. And then the poor owner of the pub was getting out. So it's weird. It's a bottle shop, but they've also got to take like a license where you can sit out the front on these little kind of like cool stools. On a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, they have like food trucks and stuff. But the problem is on a Sunday, every so often they have like a day and they had a cocktail thing. So the problem was they obviously had the poor owner there and she was the only one there because I don't know why. And they were having like cocktails. So there was like 30 people ordering cocktails. And all I wanted was some chips and a beer.
Chips and a beer, God forbid. But anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us available on all good podcast software as well as follow our socials on Dorks Down Under. And that's available on TikTok and Twitter. And this is the third episode of our trip back to the UK. We last left off, we were in Wrexham. We're in Wrexham.
We just got into Wales. So we're on the home stretch.
Wales.
This kind of feels like one of those Top Gear ones, where at the end of every season they go on this big long ass one.
Honestly,
that being said,
you say that, honest to God, we called this the Grand Tour. Because honest to God, it felt like it when we accidentally called it that at the beginning of the journey. And honest to God, it kind of stuck and it felt like it by the time we got back to Tash's. My mother-in-law's. By the time, because we set off at Petersfield and we ended up going the long way around to come home. And yeah, it felt like a grand tour by the end of it. It was ridiculous.
That being said, though, we're 2 episodes in and we've already covered what seems like a lot for a 5-week thingo.
We have. This is
and
like
the Grand Tour is probably very fitting.
Yes, this honestly, I think at this point of Wrexham, we're like on week 3. We're in the beginning or middle of week 3. Are we there? No, we're not. We're at the end of week 3, so it is like full on at this point. So after Wrexham, we ended up going to the aqueduct, which is just outside Wrexham. There's like one of the old Roman canal aqueducts. That was fabulous.
That's kind of cool. I remember seeing those in Rome. They're badass.
And I'll tell you what, it's lovely. It's a great idea. And what was even worse than an idea was the fact that my beautiful dear wife suggested that we walk across it, which was fine when you look at it from a distance, and you're like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, this is fine. And then you realise that there is literally this much of a safety railing, and it's only single. It's pretty much there's barely enough room, and it is a drop. And I'm not a great fan of heights. I'm not the greatest fan of heights, I'll be honest. And dear Lord, and I was okay with it until Edward banged. He ran past me and banged into me, which made me hit the hit the railing. At which point, the entire of my internal organs decided to go. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
At that moment, I soiled myself.
Oh, no, I didn't soil myself, but I'll tell you what, God forbid, I nearly threw up. I literally, like, my stomach decided to do a knot, and I was like, I was not in a good place. So anyway, we did the aqueduct, we go all the way across, and then he went, yeah, I hate to tell you, and I went, don't tell me we've got to walk back across because there's no other way around. She went, no, there's no other way around. I was like, oh, God forbid. So I literally walked up front, and I tell you what, I'm pretty sure I broke the speed record getting across that thing. I'll tell you that. I don't.
This is why I love your wife, because I would have done the same
swear
to you.
to
I'll just
God.
walk across and then know that we're not going to walk back.
No, the problem is that she thought she got the wrong aqueduct. Of all things, God.
How many aqueducts are there?
Oh,
You just
don't
happen to
even
get
get
the wrong
started.
one.
Trust me, there's that. Honest to God, we saw so many in Wales. God forbid, I don't think you can throw a stone without hitting one. It was ridiculous. Anyway, but so yeah, it was just one of those things. That, so I ended up having to walk back, and I speed ran it. Honest to God, I'm pretty sure I held the world speed run record for getting across that thing. God, I walked so quickly; it was ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, so then after that, we then went to Aberystwyth, which is on the west coast of Wales, and we went to Ellie's godmother's for a couple of got 2 nights.
What is it? What is it with Wales though, and always sound like the names of their towns just sounding like you're sneezing?
Yeah, no, it was one of the things, but no, we honest to God, we were at Wales and we stayed in this beautiful 16th century cottage. Amazing, absolutely fabulous, no problem at all. My son wasn't too happy though because there's no electronics at all. There's no TV.
As in what? There's no reception, no nothing, or as in there's no like
the
TVs?
most minimum amount of reception I've ever seen, and there was no TV and anything like this. He practically lost his mind.
See, this is the reason why, and people always pay me out for this, but I will always have like if I'm taking my phone or if I'm taking a laptop, there's always about maybe 5 to 10 movies or 3 or 4 series that I've always got saved on there,
Yep.
just in case, especially when traveling because you don't know what the reception's like, or
Yeah,
you get to a hotel. And that's weird because in Australia, if you want internet, you normally have to pay for it, and it's normally not great, and you struggle to watch Netflix and stuff.
Yeah.
But like in Europe and stuff, it's normally free. But I've noticed that there's a few places where they don't do that. And I remember my friends always being like, I can't watch anything. There's no thing. And I'm like, I'm sitting here watching like whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah, no,
Suck it.
it is bad. Yeah, it is just one of those things of just it was one of those. I mean, I didn't mind it because that's how my childhood was. You know, you used to have to go to places, and not everyone had a TV or a games console or all that jazz. Whereas, Edward couldn't understand the fact that after dinner there was no TV to watch. Yeah,
I mean, I must say though, like thinking back, like back in the day, like there were times where we weren't even allowed to watch TV after the thing when we were at home, let alone like when we were at Thingo. So yeah, I kind of understand it, but
yeah.
it still sucks though because I love TV way too much.
It was, but honestly, we had a great time. I mean, we went. So we landed, and then we went the next day. We went bilberry picking and
Bilberry.
Bilberry, yeah. It's like a cross. It's like a small It's like a small black, small blueberry. It's a cross between a blackcurrant and a blueberry. It's quite nice. Very super sweet, super tart. But so we ended up picking like a couple of kilos of those, and we were up on the Slate Hills and found a couple of old fossils on there as well, sort of thing. Some ancient worms and whatnot. They were buried in the slate, so that was all good.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So we did all that.
I just got a message from Jordan. Where you at? I'm like, I'm recording a podcast with you.
Wait, no, you weren't. You were aware.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, no, but it's weird. It only just came through now. That's why I was like, oh.
But yeah, so we ended up doing that, and then we also went to the beach after that, and we ended up having Eddie went crazy. He decided to go swimming in the North Sea. So
that would have been cold as balls.
Yeah, well, he's like, oh, I'm fine, I'll go. And it's like, he was like, oh, you mad lad. He's like, come and join me. I said, no, I've done my time. I'm good. I remember what it was like. I don't want to relive the experience.
Sounds horrible.
But yeah, so that was all good. And then after that, we then went to Bristol. Bristol was the next stop. So a good old Brit. So we crossed back out of Wales at the very southern tip because Eddie's from the south west. So it was just like on the way to Bath. It was like, well, Bristol's a good stop, she said. So we ended up there.
Yeah.
And we stayed at the Marriott Hotel in the city centre.
Oh, darling.
Oh, also it was the cheapest one. That was funny how that was the cheapest place to stay. Sort of thing. So we ended up staying in the Marriott Hotel. And we had actually quite nice. We ended up at this beautiful Italian pizzeria for dinner and all this jazz. And we had a nice walk around the city centre, and it was a great night. No problem at all. It was lovely. And then the next day we then went to Bath, and Ellie's old.
I love Bath. Bath is gorgeous, and also that was the first
Yes.
and only time I think I've had clotted cream, and oh my god, that stuff is like intense.
Hey, we had a couple of high teas on the way. Nothing, I'll say Ellie got her scone and jam fix on because she needed it. God forbid, we're back in Britain. She can have scone, cream and jam whenever she fancies. So so she.
I love a good scone. I just remember hearing that. And I'm like, far out.
No, it's a scone. It's not a scone. It's a scone. But if you ever do want a good start,
because you're northern.
If you ever do want to start a really good argument with someone, especially from the southwest, right? Is you ask him, "Oh, do you put the jam on first or the cream on first?"
Isn't it the jam?
Right. You see, because there's the Devonshire way, there's the Cornwall way and the Devonshire way, or whatever, or whatever way it is.
Yeah.
And they are absolutely adamant it's the other way around. So you find out whichever, so you talk to someone, you find out they're from down that way, and you say, "Oh, do you have jam on first or you cream on first on your scones?" And they'll say that. You say, "Well, that's a bit wrong, isn't it?" so
how do you put? So obviously the jam goes on like a spread, like as if you're putting butter or peanut butter or something like that. How do you put the cream on and then put the jam on? Like it just doesn't feel like it would spread, and it would. Like I'm not even.
Do I need
I'm
to get my wife to explain how spreading both on works?
I'm not even at this point. I'm not picking on which way is right or wrong. I'm just wondering about the physics of how to do it.
Do you know what's really funny? Actually, on the flight back, because we came back via San Francisco, and because we came back via San Francisco and again Virgin Atlantic, and we got served cream tea as our last thing. So we had scone with cream and jam and all that. So we prepared it all. But basically, I mean, the way I've always done it, the way I was always taught, which I'm sure is going to right any British people who are listening. This is not
or Jordan's wife.
This is not the tried and tested method. All right. This is the way I was taught, and it's the way. But I enjoy winding the other people up because it's easy. Okay, I was always taught you cut your scone, you put a layer of cream down, and then you get your jam, and you if it's in a packet thing, you squeeze it on top. But obviously, you get a scoop, and then
you squeeze it.
Well, no, it depends how your jam's being served. Like on the plane, he was in a.
You can get a squeezy tube of jam.
What's the bloody word I'm thinking of? Sachet, like a sachet.
You get a sachet of jam.
Yeah, you can get a
that
sachet
sounds
of jam.
Weird.
Yes, of course you can.
Even McDonald's does like a little thing that you pull it out and you have to spread it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure it's a sachet now. But anyway. So, but you can just get a good scoop of jam on your knife, and then you just put it on like a dob in the middle. That's what you do, sort of thing. So yeah, but that's how I was taught. But your method also works. But the problem is that it depends on your cream. It depends on your cream to jam ratio. It's always critical, I think. But I have to say the high tea when you're at 30,000 feet and you're having high tea, we felt very fancy. It was quite.
So where was this? And this was what in economy?
This is an economy that was just said, "Oh, we're bringing through scones, cream and jam, and whatnot, and all that jazz." So yeah. Oh, anyway.
That's so random.
I'm causing riots because I'm causing riots because I'm recording.
That's all right. We can't hear him.
I'm demanding my.
Or I can't hear him.
I know you can't. I can't even with headphones on. So anyway, but yeah. Apart from that, so we ended up in Bristol. Then after Bristol, we went to Bath, and Bath was lovely. We had a couple of. Well, how long were we in Bath for? We were in Bath for 2 days. So we ended up having. So we had 1 day in Bath, and then the next day I met Ellie's nephew. It's really weird to call him his nephew because he's a year younger than Ellie. So it's because Ellie has 2 brothers who are a lot older than she is, and her nephew is a year younger than she is. So of course, and this is the first time I've ever met him, as well. So I was like,
there was one thing. My friend's got an Big J, one of my best mates.
Yeah.
his auntie is either the same age or younger than him, and I'm like, how does that work?
Well, no,
Like,
they grew up together, so they call each other cousin, which is fine.
no, no, yeah,
Yeah,
but like his actual auntie, and I'm like,
yeah. But I
how does
ended up,
that
but
work?
literally, of course, I met him for the first time, and he was shaking his hand and said, "Nephew," and he went, "Uncle," and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna go like house on fire." And literally, we did. We immediately started picking on Ellie, so it was like at that point, I think I said, "Hi, I know the reason why you've never let me meet him," and he was like, "She's like, yes, God."
And it's like I know I'm gonna pay for this, but right now it's worth it.
It was so good. But yeah, he was he was a great dude to meet, and so yeah, Ellie went off to meet her brother and with her cousin, and I took Eddie to the pub. We made Eddie. Eddie had to do one thing because, of course, Eddie's technically in New Zealand terms, he's meant to be in school. These most of the entire trip. There was half term at some point,
Oh,
but he was meant to be in school, and we've obviously
that makes sense. Yeah, because I was trying to think, because I'm like, yeah, because they wouldn't have summer holidays, would you?
no. So he's not in summer holidays, which is really funny because, of course, he's like, great, I get 6 weeks off. He didn't get 6 weeks off because I talked to his teachers and said, look, if I get him to do like a journal every day and we do photos and we'll bulk it out and all that jazz, is that okay? She went, sounds great because we're not going to give him anything to do. So
We're not gonna. How does that work?
So
We're not
he,
gonna
he
give
was
him
going to
anything to
have 6 weeks off, but he had to do a journal because I told the teacher I'd make him do a journal. So we made him do a journal every day.
I mean, I guess at least then you've done it, and they can't
He
really
did,
say, "Oh, we're."
it was one of these things. Obviously, I am one of these people who admits that you can learn more not being in the classroom. You can be out in the world, experiencing life, and learning stuff, and you're going to learn more than you will do looking at a block of text on a page. I get it, and I'm fully aware. I get it, but yeah, it is just one of those things of. It was just one of those things of, but like he was like, I think at that point when we were at Bath and at least having their time off, and I was like, well, we're at the pub. I was like, right, I'll make him catch up with his days, and I think he was like 4 days behind at this point on his journal.
Come on, Eddie.
And you might honestly go, you feel like I was trying to pull his teeth out by getting him to fill his journal. I had to bribe him with crisps and soft drinks just to get it done. It wasn't even funny.
And I think the hardest thing is too, though, watching his dad sit there sink beers while he's got to write a stupid journal.
I was helping. I was having to remind him what he did. Said, oh, we did this and we did that and blah blah blah, and he's just writing it down. Bare minimum detail, absolute bare minimum detail. God forbid, but yeah, it was just like, oh, do you not need to explain what Cadbury's World is? No, it's pretty obvious in the title, Dad. Oh, is it now? It's just like...
To be fair though, like when you said it, my brain obviously originally officially went, "There's a world about chocolate." I'm like, that just sounds like Willy Wonka world. But then I'm like, I reckon it might be something different. Like maybe it's something different. Maybe it's just. And then when you went, no, it's not. I'm like, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. But yeah, so we picked and chose our battles with the journal. We picked and chose them. But yeah, we got to go get the photos printed off so we can stick them in, sort of thing, and keep it as a memento of his trip, sort of thing. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But his teacher's going to get him to do a presentation, I think, roughly.
Why not? I mean, that's great, eh? Like, I mean, and to be fair though, as you said, like he's at the age now where there are going to be things that he can learn from certain things, but he's probably going to learn like 100 times more on this trip.
Yeah. Well, no,
and I think
we did lots of things. We did lots of numeracy and calculation. We got him to work out how much money you use for X, Y, and Z, and blah 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 blah. When we pay for stuff, and we went through all the etiquettes of things, and blah, all this jazz. So yeah, it was interesting, and we got to show him all these beautiful sites and buildings. Because obviously, I mean, don't get me wrong, we love being in New Zealand, but New Zealand's a very young country in terms of world.
Yeah. Yeah, same with Australia as well.
Same with you guys have history, but it's quite a young history, especially when you're turning up and you're seeing buildings from 14 blah and all this jazz. It's like you don't get this everywhere in the world, so it was quite nice.
That is some of the funny thing though when you think about it. And you're like, when you like, especially when I traveled through Europe, like when I traveled with like Americans or other English people, and like this was built in 16 something like that. I'm like, that's fucking ages ago. They're like, it's only like 400 years ago. I'm like, yeah, but remember, my country wasn't even around then. Like nobody had found my country by then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
Jordan's
No, I'm back. Sorry. Sorry.
Jordan's like, I got to battle a Pokemon again.
No, I'm not battling a Pokemon. I'm trying to keep boys quiet. I'm letting the wife know and get rid of them. Because I can hear him right here. And he's fine. The door might as well be open, it sounds like. God forbid. Anyway.
That's pretty funny.
Yes, it is funny. It's really annoying. But yeah, so...
Okay, I think I heard that one.
Yeah, I know. God forbid. Oh, mum's coming. There we go.
Oh,
Oh, I'm getting him in trouble now. Screw it. I don't care. I was about to say I booked this slot. I booked our slot. I don't care.
I don't think she realised it was going to go for 17 hours though.
No, I said it was going to be a long session today. So I think. But anyway, these things happen. So yeah. So anyway, after Bath, we what did we do after Bath? We went. We were back.
Did you at least go to Stonehenge when you were there?
No, we didn't get Stonehenge because Stonehenge is further down.
Yeah, no, but you just have to go down and drive past it.
Yeah,
Go,
but it's
Stonehenge.
Not, oh no. So sorry, no. After Bath, we were going to Oxford. So we're going up to Oxford to see Ellie's pretty much, I would say, maid of honor sort of thing, sort of like best friend, sort of long time best friend.
Yeah, Oxford is beautiful.
Which
That
is
is one town where I went there and I was just like, this is absolutely gorgeous.
It is stunning. It's
like
lovely.
I'm not smart enough to live here, but I wish I was.
We ended up not going into Oxford itself, but on the way there is a special place that's technically on the way. Technically, it's 30 minutes away. Just 30 minutes away. Okay. We went to Diddley Squat Farm Shop.
Wait, what? Diddley Squat is what it's called.
Diddley Squat Farm Shop, which is the farm that is owned by Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh, no way!
Which is also featured on Clarkson's Farm on Amazon Prime.
Which has been axed again because he's fucking being a dick.
Oh no, it's coming back for season 3. Anyway.
No, yeah, it's coming back for one more season only because he'd already signed the contract for it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But he's now done his dash with BBC and Amazon over stupid things. But yeah. Wasn't one of them like a sandwich?
Oh God!
He wanted a sandwich, or they didn't feed him or something.
No,
so he cracked it
he what happened with it the first time? It was on Top Gear, and the catering company basically, because they were out filming, basically the catering company served them cold steak sandwiches or something like that rather than hot sandwiches. It was kind of said in the morning that we get hot sandwiches or whatever, and basically he lost it because of course he'd been. Because the fact is that when you're filming for the day, it's not like one shot done. There's going to be multiple shots and multiple things and all that jazz. So suddenly,
and there's probably cold as balls out there.
Lunch was probably at like 3:00, and he's been filming since 9 or whatever goddamn time it was, and all that jazz. But anyway, so he ended up losing his rag with. The catering company and the producer stepped in, and then he ended up throwing the sandwich. I think it was that he ended up throwing the sandwich, or he ended up doing something, or he ended up doing something, and then the producer got hit with something. I can't remember exactly, but then that's the reason why it led to them getting kicked off Top Gear. But of course, the BBC just wanted to kick him off Top Gear, but Hammond and May said, "No, if he goes, we go." So,
yeah, that was the hardest thing because then obviously that happened, and then they went through, I think it was like 2 or 3 seasons where they were trying to find.
I think they've gone through like 4 or 5 seasons now, and they keep changing.
Yeah, like they have.
They have never
the last
yeah.
No, the last 2 or 3 have, which is Eric Flintoff, the Geordie guy whose name I can't remember, and one of the guys that appeared on a couple of Top Gears here and there and was rumoured to at one point be that. And those two had been on, I think, 2 seasons together. But then the first one had like Matt LeBlanc on it, and then they changed that, and then it had something else.
Chris Evans was the first one afterwards.
Yeah, and then Matt LeBlanc was with him, and then he ran off, and then Matt LeBlanc came for the second one, and then he got pushed off, and it was just like, oh
yeah,
my god.
you.
But the last, like Flintoff and that, and the other guy's called Harris from memory. I can't remember, but the Geordie guy is like a famous footballer or something
Alan
as well.
Shearer.
And those, no, it's not Alan Shearer. I'm gonna Google it now.
You're gonna have to Google it. I'm about to say I'm interested. I'm invested now, Des.
Oh yeah, so it's that's right. So it's Chris Harris,
Yeah.
who from memory is like an British automotive journalist, amateur racer,
Yeah.
and obviously TV presenter. There was that's it. Paddy McGuinness is the other one. Sorry.
Paddy.
So they got Paddy McGuinness,
He's not
and they've got,
Geordie. He's not.
isn't he?
He's from Bolton.
I thought he was Geordie.
He's Peter Kay. He used to live down the street from Peter Kay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it does say that here. Comedian thing. He rose to fame with the help of Peter Kay, who invited him to appear on a program called the Peter Kay Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Paddy McGuinness and Flintoff, the famous cricketer, and they've kind of sat on them for a little while, and they've actually worked quite well together, and they're actually quite good. I must say, their banter, like Paddy McGuinness and Flintoff, are really funny together, and then Chris is kind of like made where they pick on him, so it works. It works really well together.
The problem I always have with don't get me wrong, I like Paddy McGuinness. I love him, especially with Peter Kay. Him and Peter Kay just vibe. They work. I just don't like Paddy McGuinness on his own because he's just like, he seems a bit typical. Yeah, it's a bit too stereotypical.
He is a bit, but the good thing is Flint.
But
Flintoff takes the piss of him.
Yeah.
Chris Harris takes the piss of him, so it kind of works a little bit like this. You've kind of got that banter that they do seem to work quite well together. But yeah, it is. It never quite. It's even then, like it still just doesn't feel right. Like it was almost like you should have either just recast it or redone a different or called it a different thing. But
yeah, the problem is when if anyone ever says Top Gear, the problem is everyone immediately thinks Clarkson, May, and Hammond. There's just that is the classic combo, and it always will have worked, sort of thing. They made the show what it is, and anyway. But anyway,
yeah,
so yeah,
and it's sad.
So anyway, back to the story. So we ended up at Diddley Squat Farm Shop because me and Ellie, we watched the Amazon series through a completely legitimate website, of course.
Don't you have Amazon Prime?
No,
or
we don't
can't
have
get
Amazon
it in New Zealand.
No.
Oh man, Amazon Prime. I must say, like I'm not a massive fan, but I find that especially in Australia, like you can get free delivery. Normally it's next day. Sometimes you get same day delivery, and also included in that you also get one subscription. So you can also, because obviously we know quite a few streamers, we could also give that to a few people. And I found, and even Cherish loves watching Amazon Prime, and I just find it's just easier to have. And it's like $7 a month.
I am considering switching and getting Amazon Prime because they do have a lot of shows, especially as they have started doing better delivery to New Zealand. It's just because the delivery to New Zealand isn't that good, but they're starting slowly. I reckon in about 6 months' time they'll suddenly go, you know what? Maybe we need to actually start doing proper delivery to New Zealand. It's like, yeah, you should.
because we've got warehouses here, and ours. Like what's weird though is where I'm moving in Rockbank. There's actually a delivery one on the way there, and they have a massive warehouse. Okay. And I must say it's pretty impressive to watch. And the drivers and stuff are actually really like. The main reason I order from Amazon is like even if I can find it cheaper elsewhere, it sounds bad, but I get Amazon because if the dude gets to the gate and for some reason the gate's closed, which it never normally is, they'll just call me and go, "Oh, the gate's closed. What's the code?" And I tell them the code, and they walk in. And then they put it on my doorstep. Couriers, I can be home and they won't even ring the bell. I've had people where they literally, because the mailbox is right there, they'll just put the card straight in the mailbox and hop into their car. And I'll be live watching when it comes in. And then 30 seconds, I'll get a thing like this and I'll run out and I'll watch them drive away knowing full well they haven't come anywhere near the door. And I'm like, so that's the whole reason I order from Amazon. It sounds bad, but that's it.
You really do hate courier drivers, don't you?
Well, I get quite a bit delivered. Like as you can see here, I've got a massive lot of stuff behind us. I don't know if Jordan's thing.
I have it cropped it. I can see just about on the thing, but
yeah, I've cropped it out too. But like I've also got a bucket there. I've got 2 buckets in the car that I'm going to fill. But I get quite a few deliveries. Like I probably get a delivery at least once a week, and it is a bloody nightmare because the guys at the post office know me. And then there's also, or if it's an actual courier service, I've got to literally whinge at them to try to get them to re-deliver it. And then if they do, I've got to say, just drop it at the door. I give you permission to drop it at the door. And they're like, oh, we couldn't get through. And I'm like, bullshit. This is how I left the door. This is how I came when it came home. I know for a fact you could. And it just frustrates me to high heaven because I know for a fact that it's just like, I can't bother walking all that way. And then there's nowhere where they'll drop it off. So if it's not Australia Post, courier, you have to go like to Port Melbourne or Tullamarine or somewhere to pick up the damn package. And it fucking frustrates
I'll
me.
tell you one thing. Actually, that's one benefit we've noticed since we moved to where we live now. Is the fact is because we're slightly rural. Even though we're not rural, we are technically rural in terms of postage. So it's like our courier ones either. There are a couple of courier companies who do work locally, so they either give it to that driver who pretty much just drops it off on his way home, which is fine, not a problem. Or B, they all just hand it off to the post office and they will deliver. They did the final collection, so I said, "Oh, it's been delivered." But the problem is that our local Facebook page says, "Oh, my package has been delivered to this person," and it's like it occurs on a weekly thing because this person has just moved to the area. It's like, who's this person who's got my package? They're the mail person. Don't worry. Calm down.
Yeah, that's all right. That's the mail guy.
They've not stole your package. Don't worry. But the problem is, of course, they have to give a name. The courier company has to get a name off of someone, and they just put the name. They don't put the name. The postal service. They don't put that. But anyway. So anyway, we ended up at Diddley Squat Farm Shop. That was great. That was fun. We turned up. There was if you wanted to actually go into the shop, the actual shop bit which is shown on the TV, there was a massive queue. Even though we got there, I think we got there at like 10 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't late, but it was a huge queue. And I was like,
What do you buy there? Like, can you actually buy something
like
there, or is it
fresh
more
fruit,
just for
vegetables,
tourists?
like actually stuff that's made on the farm. It's like a proper farm shop, as well as
Oh,
merchant.
so for example, like, so you're probably going to have locals that actually go there and get like their groceries.
No, so you can get groceries and stuff like that and all that jazz, which is great. But I was like, so I stood in the queue, but there was another bit at the back of the shop, so it's not in the shop; it's on like the outside bit. And I said to her, "What's going on down there?" She went, "I don't know." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll hold the queue. You go see what's going on." And she went, "Oh, there's a food bit and there's some rubber stalls and stuff like that." And she said, "Well, I tell you what, why don't we swap?" And I went along. And she just did a quick walkthrough. Whereas then when I went through a walkthrough, and I was like, "Oh, there's the souvenir bit. There's here's the aprons and the tea towels and everything else." Because that's all
the bits you probably want.
The stuff that we wanted, that we said we wanted to turn up and just get. We literally said we want to turn up and get a tea towel. If we can get a fridge magnet, fantastic. But we just want a tea towel. That's all we want. Diddley Squat Farm Shop tea towel because it'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I said to her, and I went back, and of course, being that it's hot, the wasps are out and chasing Edward everywhere because he's got an ice lolly or something on the go at the same time.
The worst thing about wasps, though, is the more frantic you get, the more they'll chase you as well.
And I turned up and I'm like, "Eddie, just calm down. They're gonna be." He's like, "No, they're chasing. They're gonna stay." It's like, just calm. Give me your juice. Run off. And of course, I'm stood there calm. I just put the lid back on and then ran out, and the wasps go away and all that jazz. But anyway, I said to her, "Look, Elle, do we actually need anything?" I thought, "Sure, we want to get some souvenirs." I went, "They're in the corner over there." She went, "No, I didn't see them." I was like, "Yeah, come here." I said, "Screw it. Let's just go get that because I'm not willing to wait in this queue. I'd rather get to Angie's. Let's get to Angie's and actually start enjoying the day, Come on, let's have some fun.
Get on the curbs.
Let's have some fun. So anyway, we got our souvenirs and then we went to Andrew's and then literally cracked on and we just ended up went for a nice.
It is weird though that they have the souvenirs in a completely different part, but they don't.
No, you can get them inside, but of course there's no sign saying, "Oh, if you just want this, go around."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm like, you think they'd put that in because that would be a lot easier.
Well, you think
that's probably going to save the poor sods that have to buy veggies and stuff.
Think about it. It does look good though that you're outside the farm shop and there's a massive queue. It's like, oh, something's going on today. Maybe Clarkson's in today. Maybe he's serving behind the counter. So even though he's not, but it's like it could be this massive opportunity sort of thing. But it's like it's fine. But yeah, we had a great time, sort of thing. So we did that, and then we did Oxford. We were there for a couple of nights, which was lovely. I mean, enjoyed ourselves. And
yeah, Oxford's gorgeous. I remember just going there and just being like, "This is Like this place just feels like old school.
No,
Like it just
we didn't go
feels.
into we didn't go into the town centre. We ended up there. We just ended
Yeah.
up hanging out near her. But we went to this massive. It's how do I describe it? It's like a farm shopping centre sort of thing. So it's like on the outskirts of town.
So what?
And
Like almost like a market kind
it's
of
kind of
thing,
like a
or
market thing, but they had mini, but it's like it's all one complex, and they have all these local people with stalls would turn up and sell their goods.
oh, okay,
But
yeah. I
it's
think
like
yeah
it's
we
not
call
like
them like
it's not like
farmers markets almost.
stalls. It's not like a stall. It's like a permanent stall. How do I
Oh.
describe it? It's hard to put English into words.
Because we've got like Queen Vic Market and stuff like that are markets,
Yeah.
and you have like allotted stalls and stuff, and you set
Hmm.
up when they're open kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's like it's like an allotted stall sort of thing. So it's there, and people are selling all their goods and whatnot. And but they're while we're there, there's a big farm, so they got a play, they got a petting area, or seeing
Well, that's cool.
animals. But we went there for the mini golf, just sort of thing to play mini because they
I
had
swear to God, I love mini golf. That's what I said to my friends. I'm
nothing
like, I
wrong with
need
mini
more
golf.
friends that like mini golf.
Oh
There used to be the coolest one. So, as a kid, we couldn't really afford holidays because we weren't as well
yeah,
off as most people. But what we did is we used to always go to Phillip Island, which is kind of about a 2.5, 3 hour drive. And there used to be this mini golf, and that used to be the highlight of our trip. We used to go fishing with my old man. We used to go out in this little tiny boat, and then we go mini golf. And they had this one where you used to be able to have to hit it like all around, and it was just awesome. And we went back there probably about maybe 5 years ago just to go fishing.
yeah.
And my best mate, because I was like, I've got 5 days off. I just want to disappear. So I went down there, hired a boat and stuff. I told my best mate that I was going down there, and then about an hour and a half later, I get a phone call saying, do you have where are you staying? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'm in Phillip Island. I'm like, what? So Brendan literally had just decided, well, I'm not working. I'll rock up, and came to Phillip Island.
Yeah.
And me and him literally played like 7 rounds of mini golf and went fishing. It was the greatest time ever. And I'm like, and there's a cool mini golf place like literally down the road from my house. And every time I ask someone to go, they're like, oh, no, I'm not really into that, this, that, and the other. And then the last probably 6 months, I've seen about 10 people post about it. And then people that I invited, I'm like, you motherfuckers, I just want someone to take me to mini golf.
I'll take you to mini golf. I love mini
So
golf.
if there's any
I tell
sugar
you what,
daddies out there that
Eddie
just want
loves
some
mini
mini
golf
golf,
as well. He's mad about it. So
but I have no inkling or no care to learn actual golf. But mini
I'll
golf is
teach you
the
golf as
bomb.
well. I don't mind. We got a course right next door. It's great. So
I don't understand golf. Golf to me just feels like it's a bit weird. It's like I'm gonna hit a tiny ball 300 to 400 yards, and then I'm gonna go looking for it. And then when I do find it, I'm gonna hit it again. And then when I finally hit it to where it needs to go in that stupid little hole, I'm gonna pick up the ball and go, sweet, let's do this 17 more times.
yeah, the entire
It,
game of golf is a game of perfection. Even mini golf is a game of perfection because you will end up going back to the same place. I think about it. Think about how many times you're going to visit the same mini golf course. Nothing
I've
changes.
only gone because it was the only good one that I
Yeah, but
knew,
that's the
and it
thing.
was
How many
also
times you've been to it though?
every year that we went
Every
back there.
year, right? Okay. Did the course change?
It did when I was 14.
And how many years?
It changed.
So how many years was that roughly that you played it until it changed?
I think it was 6 or 7,
Yeah.
and then it
So
changed, and then we played probably another 4 or 5.
yeah. So the entire thing with golf, big golf or mini golf, is the same thing. It's a game of perfection because you want to play the course and you want to do the best you can do, sort of thing.
I haven't really thought about it that much.
Yeah.
I just play golf because
It is
mini golf was fun
it's
as
a game
hell.
of perfection or a game of frustration, as I like to call it, because you can never achieve perfection unless you're one of these players who is that good that can do it and all that jazz. But even
I also like a driving range. A driving range is fun,
I
where
love
it
a
just seems like
driving.
you just go there. And I've been to I think 3 or 4, and it just seems like it doesn't make any sense to me because it feels like you just go there and whack balls as hard as you want.
Yes.
And I know people use it for like proper things, but for me
No,
it's
no.
just stupid and just to get rid of
The
frustration.
entire reason why I love a driving range is designed purely there for me to release anger. That's how I
Yeah,
treat a
that's
driving
exactly
range.
that's the whole point.
And
But you got people there that are like, oh, you know, you're meant to do it this way. Like, aren't I just meant to whack the balls? And then if a little dude comes in one of those little carts and tries to collect the balls, I aim at him. Isn't
Yes.
that the whole point of it?
Technically not. It is designed. You are meant to go there to learn how to have a better swing. It is the entire thing. It's designed that you are meant to go there, get your balls and all this jazz, and so you can learn to how to get, because it's all about that ding sound as you hit the ball, because you can hear the difference.
Doesn't it always make a dink sound?
No. There's a unk sound and a dink sound. And the dink sound is where you smack it dead center of where the ball is dead center and where the club is dead center. But the problem,
and this is why we are not a golf podcast, people.
This is why we're not a golf podcast, because we're explaining in terms of dinks and unks, and but it is just one of those things. But I used to work on a golf course and all this jazz anyway, so that's the reason why I know it. But it is down to the sound. Like, you can, honestly, God, I mean, even here when I'm working and I've just gotten, if I've got any music on or anything like that, because the tee for I think we're on the third hole is there, and if I've got the windows open, you can hear it, and you can hear when someone slices it, you hear this massive donk, like it's like a donk.
It's so weird.
But yeah, it is down to the sound, like, because I actually explained this to Ed, because Ed was really struggling when I last took him to the driving range. I said, listen, you got to listen for the sound. When he makes that dunk, like proper dink, right, high pitched, you know you smacked it absolutely perfectly, and you'll go the furthest you can. And then it's all about doing that again, but with power behind it. And he started noticing, and then he was listening for the sound, and suddenly he's like, Dad, I did it. And he's like, yeah, there you go. You got to listen for the sound. Sort of thing. But yeah, it's just one of these little things. Just little things that you pick up when playing golf. But anyway, it doesn't help you in mini golf, though. I'll tell you that right now. God forbid you can't, because if you.
I was going to say, as far as I was aware, there was a little line on the putter, and you just had to line that up to where you wanted to hit, and just.
That's not ever always accurate anyway, but that's a different story for a different day. So anyway, where were we? Right. Anyway,
back to that was our slight diversion.
Right, into mini golf. Right. Anyway,
golf chat.
Golf chat. Right. Back to from golf talk to right. We were at
mini
Oxford.
Golf. So we're at mini golf.
We were at Oxford mini golf, and then so we had that, and then we had another barbecue that night. And in fact, I ended up because literally it was just like, I said, I did the stupid thing of saying, "Oh, is there anything I can do?" Oh, you know when you say it and you're like, I should have said that. So anyway, but
yeah, I don't mind that, because quite often I prefer to be in the kitchen cooking or cutting or doing
and that's
stuff.
what I did. So
I
ended up preparing and marinating loads of bits and bobs for the barbecue, sort of, because it's just
nice.
Because I live in New Zealand. I've learned how to barbecue, and I've learned how to do it properly. This is the thing. It's amazing how I used to barbecue back in the day, and it's like, oh yeah, I know how to barbecue. Yeah, I don't know how to barbecue, because Britain.
Well, the thing is, though, is you got to remember too, though, in England, you can only barbecue like 12 days a year.
If that. That's if you're lucky.
Yeah.
12 days. That 12 days is a stretch. Let's be honest. But yeah.
And so that's why when people are like, "Oh, I thought English love barbecues." Yeah, they do.
They do.
But they can't do it often, or they're doing it in the cold, and generally the temperature of the grill's all over the shop.
Burnt to boogery. But yeah. So we ended up. So anyway, that was our second barbecue, and I ended up. Because of course I offered. I said, "Look, do you need me to marinate me?" And she was like, "Oh," because her husband was at work most of the day. He did some bits for us, which was great. But I was like, oh yeah, I'll get some bits and bobs marinated. And so we went to the supermarket and picked bits up. And I said, do you have any of these spices? Just curiously. She went, oh, we got a whole entire cupboard full of spices. You'll find everything you want. Yeah, she had a cupboard full of spices. I had to tidy that up while I was doing it, because I'm OCD and I had to get rid of a lot of stuff that was dead or expired beyond belief. It's amazing how It's amazing how you go into someone else's spice drawer. It's like, you've got 6 of this, 5 of which are expired, sort of thing. So I've got
why do you need 72 cumins?
Yeah, it is just one of those things, isn't it? Coffee, when you have it, it's like, oh, I think we need this, and you end up buying it. So
yeah, I'm gonna make this curry. It needs cumin and this. Do we need cumin? Oh, I'm pretty sure we do. And then you go back in there, and the last 7 times you've said that exact phrase. 7
unopened cumins from the last 20 years. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then it's older than your kids. You're like, this does not seem right.
But yeah. So anyway, I ended up marinating. What did I make? I ended up doing my burger mix, And of course, I said, I'm going to ask a really stupid question. By any chance, you have a burger press? I mean, we do somewhere, but we don't know where it is. I'm like, right, okay. So I had to Kiwi ingenuity it. This is how proud I am. This is how proud I am.
Should I be worried? Because I'm a
No.
bit worried.
So I got a medium sized dinner plate. And I ended up going and finding a small, I wouldn't like say a saucer plate. It was a bit bigger than a saucer plate. It was like, but it wasn't quite a small toast plate. It was like this weird one. Weird size. But it had a perfect size lot of like decent burger size ring on the bottom.
Yeah.
So I was just like, right, rolled up, ball, pressed down, perfectly formed.
Why don't you just do them with your hand on the grill?
No, because it's not the same. I was aiming for uniformity because I'm a nerd and I can't help it. So I aim for uniformity.
But I've worked commercial kitchens, and quite often, if you make the same size ball, you can almost squash them into the perfect size.
Yeah, we do go wrong because her husband is South African, and one standard rule. What's the standard rule with barbecues? Right, when you go to someone else's house.
They're the grill master.
They're the grill master. You don't touch another man's barbecue, do you not? You do not touch
No,
another man's barbecue.
unless they refer to it as a braai, like the South Africans do, and then you're like, shut up.
Oh,
man.
no. He didn't refer to it as a braai because it's not a braai, because apparently a braai has to be a round one. I've learned that.
Yeah.
I've learned
so
that.
So what happens? So you know that plate that you had to put together and teach him to make.
Mm-hmm.
If it's on an open fire, it's technically a braai. If it's cooked with charcoal or gas, it's considered a barbecue. Because I lived in South Africa for many years, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, we're having a barbecue." They're like, "No, we're having a braai." And then the other time, I'm like, "Oh, cool." Thinking I've learned some slang, I'm like, "Are we having a braai?" He's like, "No, mate, I just got a barbecue." I'm like, then why the fuck did he call it a braai before? And they taught me. So a braai is made with an open fire.
Open fire. There you go.
So there's a useless bit of information, people, that may win you a trivia night.
The more you know, we can have that. We can have that play. We can have that play. But yeah, so we ended up having a barbecue, and he didn't squash the burgers down, which is fine. I ended up coming along and fixing it because I had to. Because I literally walked past and he was like, "Do you need me to do?"
Jordan like, "Oh my god, it's a ship!"
No, because I was twitching. I'm pretty sure he noticed that I was messing up my burgers, and I was like, "No, I need to fix this." So I ended up doing my burger mix. I tried to do my Asian chicken mix for fillets, which nearly worked, but they didn't have all the spices. I had to wing it.
Oh god.
It actually came out quite nice. It was actually not too bad. And then I ended up doing a Cajun spicy sort of kick one because they had all the spices for that. So, and it was funny because literally like Andrew's like. Ellie's best friend was like, "Yeah, I need the recipes." I went, "For what?" She went, "Everything, just everything. What have you done? Just everything.
Give me one of everything."
I said, "Literally, I can do, but the Asian one I can do really better if you actually have it." She went, "Just give me that one then. That's fine. Honestly, it tastes great." So I was like, "All right."
That's one thing about English cooking is I always found with English cooking, like salt need to not be an option and spices just weren't a thing.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think that's the reason why the English love curries as much as they do, because it's something
honestly, it is the one thing of. It's amazing that once you move out of England, you realise that flavour is an option.
Yeah, flavor isn't something that
flavour doesn't come in a powder packet. What's it? You mean I've got to add stuff and I can adjust it to my own liking? What is this nonsense? I quite like this. Yeah. So it's suddenly realizing that you can make your bolognese not taste like a standard dolmio.
Oh man, it makes me funny because keep seeing these things on Instagram, the reels, which pretty much is probably just TikTok, but they've just yeah. But it's kind of like this. You see this white woman making this chicken dish, and everything's pale, and it's like, would you eat this for dinner? And then like there's like black guys or Italians or like all kinds of things, and they just say, "What are you bringing?" And he's like grabbing like 15 different spices and different things, and I'm like, it's so true. Like there's
it is, honest to God. I mean, yeah, funny enough, I mean, Ange did thank me for making sure her spice cupboard was immaculate because while I was there, I actually sorted it as well. Because I had to, because God forbid my senses wouldn't allow it.
when my mum sold her house, right? So my mum sold her house and obviously moved into like a more of an over 55 village and stuff. And the funniest thing is we went through like a whole heap of things, including her spice cabinet and stuff. And there were things there from before my sister was born. So there's about a 6 to 7 year age gap between me and my sister.
Wow.
And let's put it this way, I'm not 15,
Sure.
which means that
You look
these things
15
have been.
nowadays.
I mean, I act 15 to be fair. I'm just like, I'm not 15, which means that these things have been in there decades. It also explains why my mum's cooking is horrid.
Oh, I'm gonna
Oh
tell
no,
my mum.
I tell my mum all the time. Like, let's put it this way: my mum is such a bad cooking that my nonna wouldn't even let her in the kitchen. So
Oh,
when we
that's
went
bad. That's bad.
when we went to like her house for lunches and dinners as I grew up, I was allowed in the kitchen. My mum was not.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because my mum is yeah, she's not the best cook, let's say this way.
Listen. Some of us are born to it, others aren't. You know, which is fine because the ones who are born to it, we enjoy cooking for it. That is my happy place. I love
Yeah.
cooking for it. That is my happy place. That's how
That's why when I come over, I'm looking forward to getting one of your roasts. I want Yorkies.
You want Yorkies? I'll Yorkies. I'll do it. I'll do an entire smoker. Whatever you need, pal. You just let me
I
know.
don't even care, but I wouldn't mind just having a
Tonight,
good old fashioned
I
English
made.
roast and a
We're
Yorkie.
having chili for dinner tonight. I've made a full chili and leftovers. We're having nachos with and all that jazz. That's what we're having. Tonight.
I saw this thing online where this girl grabbed this Doritos bag
Mm.
and said, "What do you want?" And she cut it sort of like, so this is my chip packet that I just bought. And she cut it this way so that the Dorito bag opened up. And then she put like chili, a little bit of cheese queso, like salsa and stuff. And then you just eat it out of the bag. And I'm like, that is the stupidest, dumbest white person thing I've ever seen.
That's genius.
But I fucking love it.
Yeah, that's genius.
I'm like, I guarantee, like looking at that chili, it has no flavor. But the idea gives
To
it
be
legs.
fair, though,
And
I did see. I mean, a TikTok I saw today that I haven't got out of my head was, you know, sorry, scroll. You know what a scroll is, right? Which is round up pastry and tends to be, tends to be a cheese or a ham filling and blah or whatever, and you occasionally get a piece of one. Today, someone had on TikTok
cheesy
was,
might scroll.
No, it was a hamburger, so mince seasoned, a little bit of cheddar and a bit of mozzarella rolled up tightly. So basically, they make burger rolls.
It was like a meat scroll.
And then you use like obviously hot cheddar sauce on top. And
Naturally.
I was just like,
I'm not a skinny man. I'm never going to be a skinny man.
Honestly, literally, you just saw it, and I was like, yeah, I know what I'm making on Halloween now. I know already.
That's the
we
one
might
thing
be
I
having a
do find
Halloween
dangerous.
party, and those might be the feature dish. I'll tell you that right now because I already
That's
saw.
the things that's always so dangerous is when you're like, some of these things you see and you're like, these are kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, but
I kind of want to try.
Enjoy food occasionally. You know, I mean, God forbid, don't get me wrong. I enjoy eating healthy. I love eating healthy.
But also
really
cooking
good.
with poo.
But yeah, there's nothing wrong with cooking with poo, right? Okay, cooking with poo is a solid cookbook, man. Solid cookbook. It's just like it's like my Snoop Dogg cookbook from crook to cook. There's nothing wrong with it.
I got one that I don't know what it was, but it was I don't know if I still where it is though. But I got the World of Warcraft cookbook. And somebody told me about that, and there's like a big like hardcover one that's kind of 10 shades of insane, right? And I was like, and I looked online, and there's like this thin one that's about this big, that's kind of like an A5 book, and somebody was selling. They had copies of them that they bought, and I said to the guy, I'm like, is this the official one? He's like, yeah, bro. He goes, I went to this bookstore, and they had them sitting there, and it's one of those bookstores where you pay like $2 for a book. So I bought like all of them, and now I'm selling them online. I'm like, sweet. I'm like, how much do you want for him? He's like, well, I kind of already told you the price, but I'm selling him for $10. I'm like, that's fine. Ship it to me for $10. I'll take it. And where is it? I think.
Oh my god, the official cookbook.
Yeah, it's kind of epic. So that's I always said that I wanted to do a YouTube channel where I either A, cooked the meals from the official cookbook, or B, did that for the first bit till I built up
How do I
things,
get it?
and then tried to cook food.
Oh God, how do I get it? Right, hang on. Paper Plus. Here we go. Can I get it? Can I get it? Okay, that might
You can
have
buy
to
it from
be
Amazon.
a Christmas treat. Oh
You can
my
buy it from
God.
Amazon for $38.
Yeah, $82. $82. My
$82?
$82. Brand new
Really?
from Paper Plus. Oh God.
I've got it from Amazon for 38.
Oh, hang on.
Now this is shopping with nerds down under,
Shopping with
with
this.
dogs down under.
Shopping with Dorks now. Oh, easy buy. You can't buy it. Oh, God forbid. The Nile. Hang on. The Nile. $54 from the Nile. Hang on. Which the Warcraft new flavors of Azeroth.
Oh, there's a new flavors
There's
of
a new
Azeroth.
flavors of Azeroth. Oh my God. The official group. So there's even a sequel. There's a sequel. There's the sequel.
Yes.
Anyway, back to regular scheduled programming. But yeah, anyway, that's certainly interesting. I might have to consider that as a purchase for Christmas. But
Yes.
yeah. So where were we?
We had just left Bath, and you were talking about your second
So we were at
time
Oxford.
in Oxford.
We did. So we had barbecue at Oxford, and then after Oxford, we went back down to mother-in-law's. And so we were at mother-in-law's, and then the next day we went to London. We had a touristy day in London. We actually did a touristy day. We did a proper.
Did you go to Camden?
We did not. Right. Sadly, we did not have time. Camden. We did the open top bus around central London.
That I must say, if for anybody listening, if you get a chance to go to London,
Yes.
those open top buses
Amazing.
at first, like
Yes.
when I first heard about them, I thought that they're just going to be a rip-off. They are possibly the best money you spend. So this is a bus that you can hop on and off again.
Yes.
It's a double-decker bus. You get to sit at the top. So the good thing is that there's certain things that you want to see. Like say, for example, you want to see the Ritz-Carlton, but it's not something that you, because it's appeared in a whole heap of movies and stuff like that, but you don't want to actually get out and do it. Most times the bus will stop very close to there or stop at the lights near there. You can get your photo and move on. And it is amazing. And then it'll take you to these things, and then all you do is you get back on and keep going. It has to be probably one of the best money I spent that I can remember.
Honestly, it's the first time we did an open top bus. And bear in mind, we used to live in Barnet, so we were literally in London. But yeah, we ended up doing the open top bus with Eddie. You know, we went right along. We did everything. We did Buckingham Palace bit. Got off, cut across, came back on because we had to go to the Tower of London because we booked in to be at the Tower of London, and then got back onto the other line, went all the way to Tower of London. That was great as well, no problems at all. But yeah,
but it's quality. It's such a good
honestly,
thing.
it was given how much money we spent for it, which was a sizable sum. Don't get me wrong, but the fact is that you can hop on and off, and you're not paying the tube because the problem is with the tube is. The tube is lovely, but it's very complex. And the problem is you're not seeing light of day. You are travelling between point A and B via X, Y, and Z all the way along, because of course it's all the complicated route along.
I must say we can bring up whoever's editing, we can bring up a map of the tube, and it is quite confusing. That being said, though,
absolutely.
It is quite easy once you get the hang of it, because you need to go, okay, I'm going from point A to point B. This train takes us to here, which intersects with this one. So I'll get off here and then catch this train to here. Trains come every 2 to 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's pretty friggin' easy to navigate. Yes. The English rag on it more than anything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because I actually found it much better than most that I've been to, and I've been traveling the world.
It is a great system. It's absolutely fantastic. There's not a problem with it. It's just that you have to know where you're going. That's the only thing. So it's about being...
and you have to have a bit of plan and a bit of thinking about it.
You have to have a bit of thinking about it. It's like, all right, so I need to catch this line of this thing, change it here, jump onto this line, which then takes me to so-and-so, jump off a thing, bish, bash, bosh, I'm there, 5-minute walk, that's it. That's the problem is it requires you to think in advance, whereas if you turn up on the day, you're like, I need to get to so-and-so, it's like, do you know where it is? Nope. What line's it on? Nope. It's like, okay, so you have no clue or idea. Fabulous, great. So so the problem is no one knows where to go. But it is really good. It really is a good system. But we wanted to do with Edward is like, we could take it on the underground, which is it's nice. It's not nice. It's the London Underground. It's you
It's
know,
definitely something.
it's something. Yeah, in fact, it's something is pretty much a good definition of what the London Underground is. But it's certainly not a touristy
No.
thing. So we end.
Like, it's good to experience. Like, if you go to London, I think
Hmm.
kind of like when you're in New York and you want to use the subway, it's good in that regards. But the problem is the good thing about this open top bus is you're actually driving through London.
Yes.
You actually get to see at ground level all this stuff. If you sit up the top, which is great,
Hmm.
especially if the weather permits it,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So you'll get to see Hyde Park, you'll get to see the Ritz Carlton, you get to drive past where I think the last hanging was, and
Hmm.
all these different cool things that may not be something that you want to see, i.e., that it's something that you want to spend heaps of time at, but it's something that you want to see.
Hmm.
And because it is able to drive past, you get this beautiful view of it. You get to see it. Often they'll stop because there's a stop for anybody that does want to get out.
Hmm.
So you can take some really great shots, but it doesn't waste your entire day.
Yeah.
And I think that these things, though they do cost a little bit more than getting a cab, say, from Piccadilly
Oh
Circus
no,
to
it's
like
cheaper than the
Oxford.
cab. I'll tell you that right now. I
Yeah.
guarantee it's
But
cheaper than the
over,
cab, but
over
it's more expensive than the underground. But the underground is, funnily enough, underground. You're not going to get to see anything on the way.
But yeah, and I must say that they are. I personally think they're worth their weight in gold because I do find that there's a lot of great things that can be done there, and yeah, I'm a massive fan of it. And I feel like if you get a chance to do it, you can buy, say for example, I think we bought a 2 day pass because we had 2 days off, and we literally saw probably 85, 90% of the stuff we wanted to see in London, whether it was see it, whether it was walk across it, whether it was get out and do it. And then you've kind of got your entire day planned. They
Yeah.
do run till about 7. I think when we were there, they ran till like 7, 8 p.m. at night.
Oh yeah, no, they still run late. I think it's like I
Hmm.
think it was like 8:30 or something like
So
that.
even if you
Yeah.
get off somewhere and you want to see the changing of the guards and you spend an hour and a half, 2 hours at Buckingham Palace,
Yeah. No, you
once you've
still
seen that,
yeah
you just get back on.
yeah pretty much.
And it's fantastic, worth its weight in gold. And I must say that when people say that, when they say, "Oh, is X worth it or Y worth it?" One thing that is definitely worth it is that.
Yes, absolutely. I fully agree. It was great, and it was very straightforward. And of course, because we weren't staying in London, we got back on the train easily. Oh wait, it was a bit of a rush because I misread the map and I thought there was another stop nearer, but of course it was a one-way system and all that jazz. So I got confused, but that
Oops.
that was oops, bad on me. But anyway, but yeah, we went to the Tower of London while we were there that day as well, and
I
which
actually didn't expect to like the Tower of London.
yeah.
I thought it was going to be a bit like, oh yeah, it's just got some
It was good
old
fun. We
castle
joined
shit,
one
and
of
that was it.
the Ormond tours, which is also known as the Beefeaters. We joined one of the Beefeater tours, and we got most of the thing and everything else. And I think it was like the last 10 minutes we missed because there was a really short queue to go see the crown jewels because of course they're between tours, and suddenly it's like we're right at the very end of the tour. And of course, all he's talking about is beheadings and executions and
Yeah, all that fun
all
stuff
that
that really
fun
just
stuff
that
for
makes
British
you feel
history.
good.
And so we ended up grabbing Edward and just getting into the queue, and literally we were straight in. And then obviously several tours all finished, and then the queue got huge again. So we got in, but it was nice going through and seeing the crown jewels and all that jazz, and it was all.
Yeah, for sure. And it is kind of fascinating with like just like the crown jewels and the size of it is
Yeah,
just
I mean, God forbid. I mean, just the history. The history on it is always just great, sort of thing. I mean, again,
yeah.
an old country, you get all this sort of sense of propriety and all that jazz and blah 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 blah. It's all it's just one of those things. It's a bit sort of you don't think about it when you live there, sort of thing. Being from there, you think, oh yeah, this is just how every country is. Every country has a history, but then you realize that
Yeah.
when you move to this end of the world where oh no, the earliest like colonial establishments is like 17 or 16 something. It's like, well, we've got buildings from like 14 something. It's like, suddenly you
Yeah.
realize, oh, well, actually, Britain's a lot older than a lot of some of these other countries or whatever sort of
Yeah.
thing. So it's interesting to sort of see. But,
No, and that's the thing, and that's the one thing that I do love about the UK is no matter what you did. So as I spoke about, myself and Bonnie, who we used to hang out, and we used to always have what we used to call Derek and Bonnie days, which meant that what would happen is whoever's day it was, they would choose what we did for the entire day. So, for example, it's Jordan and I. Jordan would be like, all right, I really want to go see Lego World and go to the pub. And that's what we do for the day. And then when I chose, I'm like, okay, I want to go to the History Museum and this. And the number of different things that we did, and because both of us, though, have similar interests, don't have the exact same interest, it was amazing. Like, we went and saw the Salvador Dali. We went to the last pub of Jack the Ripper. We went to see like all kinds of things that you're just like, wow. And the diversity inside London is kind of insane. Like,
is.
it doesn't matter what person you are. If you can't find something to do in London, you're just way too picky
Yeah.
because there's the diversity and the stuff that you can do
Oh yeah.
is complete and utter insanity.
London's got everything for you. I mean, pretty much. I mean, the next day after our tourist day, we were going to see Peter Kay that night. So we were going to the O2, but obviously we had a day off for me and Elle, so we ended up going shopping, left, right, and centre, a couple of drinks, some nice dinner, and then we went to Peter Kay, which
when it got all fancy.
Oh, it was immense. Go to see Peter Kay, that was so fun. And then after Peter Kay, we went out. Of course we ended up going out. It finished at like 11 o'clock. We got back to our hotel area, and we're like, well, we both fancy a nightcap. So we ended up sort of going for one bar, which was a bit dead. Well, it was very pricey for some things. It was like, so we just wanted to go somewhere else. And across the way was Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club, which is a very famous jazz club in London.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No. So we ended up there. We caught the last set, and the last set was like an improv set. So we were there for like nearly an hour and a bit. And it was like 2.
That's cool.
It was like 2 a.m. when we retired, sort of thing.
Yes.
But it was just listening to jazz. It was beautiful. It was an absolutely great evening. And then the next day we ended up going back and having a chill out day and some food and dinner, and then pretty much it was the end of the whole day. We ended up having some family dinners and whatnot, and then it was the flight back, which wasn't too bad apart from. What was it? When we landed at... that was it. So we got to San Francisco, which was fine. No problem. So we landed in San Fran, got through all the jazz again, did all the security thing. No problem. And then we get through to the check-in bit, and we ended up paying to go into the lounge, because we're there for 7 hours this time. So,
You know what's... the thing that annoyed me when Jordan said I'm sitting in the lounge is that I have travelled quite considerably.
Yes.
I've been in many planes. And I had no idea that you could buy one-off passes to the lounges, because there are so many places that I have stayed for over 5 or 6 hours that I would have killed to be in the lounge, because I know some of the international lounges especially have like showers, have like
Now,
free food and drink.
the lounge we in didn't have showers, which we kind of were hoping for, but they didn't. But, I reckon if we'd gone to the Polaris Club one, I guarantee we probably would have paid twice as much, because I think the Polaris Club one was the first class level one. Anyway, so we just paid for the bog standard United Lounge, which was fine, no problem. But we got free food, some free drink, free food and drink, and there's toilets and there's seats, and all the seats have got chargers and everything else, which is great. So we charged up everything, all our electronics and everything else, which is great. And it was just funny because we're going to get duty free, and so me and Elle did our duty free runs. We did all that, and they're going to deliver that to the gate. Great, fab, crack on. And then
I heard they do that now. That's amazing.
No,
you just have to carry the bloody thing.
Honestly, it's great. It's fabulous. And then after that, and then so I'm sat down in the lounge, and literally I log on, because I've got free Wi-Fi and everything else, and I log on to Pokemon Go, and then there was a regional available. I can't remember which one it was now, and it was literally, and it shut. But of course, I'm not familiar with the airport layout, so he's like, I looked where I roughly was. I'm like, oh, it looks like it's just up there. So I thought I'll just go for a walk, because why not? I said to Elle, she was like, Elle's in her book. It's like, yeah, whatever. And Ed's chilling out and relaxing. So I was like, right, I'll see you in a bit. So I end up walking, and then literally I'm on the travelator, and because the lounge is near the gate that we're getting on at, and suddenly they said, "Oh, the Air New Zealand called for the following passengers." Blah 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 blah. Edward Halligan. I'm like, and you know when you snap up because you hear the word Halligan.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, that's my name.
That's my name. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I got off the Travelator and I'm like, I'll just listen. I'll wait for a minute and listened. And then suddenly they repeat the thing because obviously it was the first repeating, and they do.
Why are they only calling Eddie and not you and your
which was a
mum?
bit weird. And I'm
Are you
like,
and
I'm
your
like, and I
wife?
thought, okay, and they were calling him again. I thought, well, I better go back down. So I went back down and said, they're calling for Edward and Eddie, and by the time I got back, he's passed out asleep. He's asleep in the chair. He's like full of. Bear in mind, we've been on the go for I think at this point we've been on the go for 17 hours. So it's not surprising he's finally passed out for a minute.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, they apparently need to check in his board. They need to check his verification status or something on his passport. And I was like, okay. So I just grabbed his passport and I went with my. I wanted to. So I grabbed his passport and I thought I better grab mine just to prove that I'm his dad. You know, and all that jazz. Yeah. So I walked along, and so I went down to the thing and desk and said, "Hi, you just called for my son." And she went, "Oh, hi, which one?" And he went through all the thing. I said, "Oh, yeah, there's just a problem with his immigration status." And I went, "What do you mean? There's a problem with it?" And she went, "Well, it doesn't be linked to his passport." And I went, "Well, it will be." He said, "Oh, well, does he have an Esther?" I went, "No, he has a permanent residency." So we went through this massive thing, and she's just like, "Oh, well, the problem is I would take you further in the process, but I need to see him here." And she went, "Can you get him?" I went, "No, because he's currently asleep. He's been up for 17 hours." I said, we were hoping to let him have a little sleep before he gets to the gate.
He's a douchebag when he's awake. God, imagine when when I'm just woken him up.
Yeah, so it was just like one of those things of, so we felt, and she was like, "Well, I'll tell you what, just come to the gate." And said, "Do I need to bring him now, or can we resolve it when the gate's opening? Because the gate, obviously, we know the gate opening time." And she's like, "Yeah, just bring him 10-15 minutes before, we'll sort it out." I went, "Great, fab, crack on." So I went back and told Elle, and she's like, "Oh, thank God, it's all right, we'll sort it all out." So anyway, we get there 10-15 minutes before, of course. Bear in mind, each time they keep calling his name out, sort of thing. Even though I've gone and seen them, it's like you could take us off the list. We know to come. Don't worry. But so we ended up going there, and it was just really. So we end up going through the process, and she sees him. He's like, "Hi," and he's like, because he's half asleep.
Yeah,
because he's really struggling. So I send him an L off, and basically what it turns out is, because of course we had Eddie on his new passport, on his new British one, because his old one expired. Fine, fair dues. And when Ellie got hers done, because Ellie got hers done before we met up in Taz. And of course, all our old paperwork used to say, our old passport numbers. So we rung up Immigration NZ and said, "Oh, what do we do?" She went, "Oh, no, don't worry. It's all transferred over automatically. You don't need to call us. We understand that passports get updated. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Great.
Unless you're ready.
Great.
Then it won't get done automatically.
Fabulous. Yeah, not a problem at all. Apparently not. Apparently what you're meant to do, you get a new passport, you need to ring up and tell them you got a new passport. And then they update the system and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, we didn't do it because we were told, "Oh, no, it's all done automatically. Don't worry." Anyway.
As you do.
But what was hilarious is the fact is that they allowed him to board the flight from London to San Francisco when he has passport issues for New Zealand.
But wouldn't he have also had passport issues 5 weeks earlier?
No, because he's leaving the country, not coming to the country.
Yeah, but wouldn't in theory he still need a visa for America and London?
No,
wouldn't he still need
no. So
passport?
we had a visa for America because we're transiting. That's fine. Britain is fine because he's on a British passport. That's fine. But it's purely because we're coming back to the country, and we haven't stated when we're leaving. Even though me and Ellie are fine because our passport numbers are synced to our visas, but his hasn't, because it was just like, oh my God. He was absolute.
Jesus.
He was an absolute joke. So I'm stood there, and bear in mind, she ends up putting me on when immigration ends. So this poor person said, "Do you mind speaking to the person from immigration?" I went, "No, fine, feel free," sort of thing. So I'm on the phone and I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, well, the problem is, do you have his old passport?" And I went, "Yeah, I do, just not with me." He went, "Why don't you have it with you?" I went, "Because it's expired. I'm on his new one. Why would I have his old passport?"
Yeah, that's
He's just like, "Oh, do you have a photo of it?" I said, "Maybe." He said, "Oh, well, if you did, it would prove to the gate woman that you have the same thing." I'm like, "Why would I carry a photo?" He said, "I might do. I'll have to dig through it." I said, "Is there any other way I can?" He said, "I can take you through the verification process." I went, "Take me through it." I said, "I guarantee you, I can answer every question that you've got." so,
try
I'm
me,
stood
bitch.
there, and while being married in time, I'm answering his questions. He's answering them and firing them off like this because it's all bog standard information, blah blah
Yeah,
blah. And I'm all the time I'm looking for. I'm like going through all the emails trying to find a photo of his original passport, so I can just show the lady and just get it over and done with. I'm just like,
that is so weird though.
it's just
Like, it
like
just
I was
feels.
like, and I literally said to her after we got through it all, and she said, "Oh, I can hand me back to the gauge." And so I went, "All right." And she said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Apparently, your son's going to be allowed to fly." I said, "2 righties." I said, "I'll say."
No, us two will fly back. We'll leave him here for a couple of days while you sort your shit out.
But yeah, it was one of those things of like, "Oh yeah, your son's going to be allowed to fly." I said, "Yeah, I bet he is. He must be." Anyway, I said, "No
Trudge.
offense, look." I said, "No offense. Why wasn't this flagged up when we tried to board the plane? When we tried to check in at Heathrow?" And she went, "Oh, it's a different system." I went, No. I said, "I've flown through many different countries. If you try to transit through another country to somewhere where you don't have a visa residency or whatever, it flags up. So that isn't going to fly. That's a bit ridiculous." It's like, "Well, it's not exactly, it's a, because obviously she's American and she's talking to me, and it's just like, well, it's a different system," and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not flying. But anyway, apparently they let him in the country, and so we told Edward that he's only allowed in the country as long as he behaves. Everything else, well,
What is it with parents and always telling kids like you're only allowed to do this if you behave, or this is only happening because you have to behave? You're like, God damn
but
it!
yeah, and then obviously we've landed back. We're going through jet lag, and it's our final day before we all start work.
Yeah, you guys start work tomorrow, and I'm guessing Eddie's back at school too.
Yes, Eddie's back at school, sort of thing. He's very much looking forward. He's had his friends around for the last 2 days. He's really missing school, sort of thing. But anyway,
Yeah, he's probably also excited just to be able to share everything that he's done.
I think he's more excited to get away from his parents more than anything else. I think he's had enough.
That's understandable too, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he's had enough of us. But yeah, but anyway, that's the end of my story. And Des, do you want to fill in anything before we sign off for giving how long it is?
Yeah, do you want? And my last 5 weeks was good too. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
No, I literally I can't add anything to that. That's just insanity. I'm just like, what the.
Yeah, it was insanity. I absolutely have. I have no idea how me and Ellie managed it and not get divorced by the end. I'll be honest.
I must say, I've always said that. I was like, the number of couples that I know that I'm like, if you can travel together, then you're set.
Yeah.
Because the number of couples that I know that like, even like for example, when I worked in London, when people used to come to London as a couple, it wouldn't take long to start seeing so many cracks. And the number of times that we would lose one of the partners or both of the partners is kind of insane.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys can travel together just adds to the fact that you guys are made for each other.
Yeah. No, it was. It was difficult someday. I mean, literally, I think we got about. I think like week 3. At the end of week 3, we literally both said to each other, "Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home. I miss home."
Yeah. But I also think there's times where you guys need to actually just spend time away. And I think that's what was one good thing is you guys actually,
Oh no.
I'll take Eddie, you go spend time with that. Or
Honestly,
I'll go to Warhammer World and I'll spend way too much money.
We timed our especially we made time for us as well as a couple. sort of thing. So we had obviously we had the PK night, and we had a couple of nights in Cumbria as well, which was really good, sort of thing. So we planned a couple of nights, which was actually a godsend more than anything, where we could actually just be us rather than be mum and dad for a night, which was quite nice. So yeah. So anyway, we'll end the podcast there because I absolutely busted in the game because I broke the seal. But I just want to say a big thank you very much for enjoying.
And for anybody that has listened to all three, thank you so much.
If you've listened to them back to back, we apologise for the craziness because it's just like ramblings of crazy people. But
and it's more one crazy person.
Yes,
one person is just kind of
it's because I did a very
they
crazy
just kind of
journey.
went on way too much about Craig's.
I honestly did far too much in too much of a holiday. It was ridiculous. I would never do this
That's
again.
good though, and I think to be fair though, I also think you needed it, and I also think that
I needed to go back. I did not need to stuff in as much as I did in 5 and a bit weeks. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway,
that is also true. But I'm like, doesn't mean anything. Like I'm, and that's the thing though. One thing I do miss London. It's something that I want to go back to one day and just have some time. But that being said, I think Touchwood is after everything happens with the house and I start to figure out where my budget is. I want to go to Japan or Vegas for Jordan's birthday.
Oh, we got plans for that now. We got plans for that already.
How far off is that?
3 years time roughly.
Okay, so I got 3 years to save for that. I can deal with that.
3 years for that, but yeah, we can make plans. But yeah, we've made a big family trip of it now. Like my mother-in-law's got involved in that because it's her big birthday as well, sort of thing. So we've made a joint plan.
Oh man, so I can't come.
No, you're already welcome. I already told you, you're my honorary brother-in-law, so don't worry about it.
I can deal with that. Yeah. And that being said, though, you'll probably just be like, you can take Eddie to Disney.
Oh no! Oh, she's going to Disney. She's taken us all to Disney.
I just want to go to the Star Wars thing. I've been to Disney before and I loved it, and I want to go again.
That sounds good.
And I must say,
you can go to that bit, and we'll just ditch Elle and Ed.
Because I literally want to make my own lightsaber. I want to make my own droid, and then there's a few little things that I didn't get to see when I was there last time, or I couldn't afford to eat as much as I wanted to last time because food in Disney is expensive.
Food in Disney is expensive. No,
but that being said, though, you can get like a turkey leg that's about the size of Texas that you can just eat.
Yeah, but
that costs about $7-8, and that's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, but how about not? Anyway, much love, people. Thank you. Please make sure you like, subscribe. Please follow us on our socials at Dorks Down Under. Please do everything.
Please tag Danny Reynolds that we've been promoting his business, so maybe he'll send us a bottle of Aviator gin. So if
he does Aviator whiskey, that'd be helpful. I'm not a fan of gin.
I'm actually a big fan of gin. I think gin's great.
Fine.
And I think
send my bottle of gin to Dez. He can have my bottle. That's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, much love, people. Thank you. Peace out, and make sure you stay tuned for way more podcast episodes coming up.